Okay, we got a little bit of a late start tonight. You're giving away a poster from the International Motocross Museum.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't think there's anything else.
Okay. If there's nothing else,
No, there's nothing
I
else
don't think it's on. Nice shot.
other than the fact
Then,
that you love me, that's all I really needed to hear you say. Perfect, Coco.
I'm Jerry Maddox.
And I'm Ryder Maddox in sunny California.
And you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, hosted by Joe Abbate.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and I am your host, Joe Abbate. Thank you for joining me tonight. As always, my lovely bride of nearly 38 years is with us. Susie, how you doing tonight?
I'm good.
You doing good? What are we giving away? What kind of prizes we got?
We have posters from courtesy of the IMN.
Right. And is somebody else getting something tonight for, you got the listener appreciation thing. That's the poster. But I thought we were giving away something else.
We're giving away these awesome hats.
Oh, okay. These.
But are we giving that away instead of a poster?
A
viewer appreciation prize.
No. The viewer appreciation prize. Oh, no, trivia. We have trivia tonight. We have trivia tonight. So we're going to be giving away.
We have trivia.
Right.
Right.
So you look for your listener appreciation, gets a poster.
Yeah.
And we're going to have stickers in another section of the program, and we have all the good stuff as well. As always, I want to thank our sponsors, Motion Pro and Vinco, Preston Petty Replica Motorcycle Parts Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, and Full Circle Racing. Of course, my dear friend George Ackerman, Mike Chamberlain, as well as Sean Gomes and Fred Hudgens from Fast Guys and Derfs. Our newest sponsor and a dear friend, as well as a great product, Amsoil. Thank you, Russell Waters, for all you do for us here at the show. You can donate to our page at any time. There is a donation link on the Vintage Motocross Q&A page. Don't forget to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube. Here's a good look at some of those posters that Terry Good has been supplying us with for quite a few shows now. International Motocross Museum information or more news coming up on the IMM about just a fantastic event that's coming up in the very, very near future. Actually, it happens on October 19th. I can tell you a little bit about it right now. It's a picnic. There are going to be some legendary racers there as well. More about that a little bit later in the program. But right now, it is time for the Next Time Try This segment. I do want you to keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you are on YouTube. Right now, let's get a look at the Next Time Try This segment. I want to share with you tonight a very simple and cost-effective way to make a set of fork guards for your lower fork tubes of your bike. They're going to snap on just like that. It's made of PVC. Now, when you go to buy this PVC, you want to make sure you get the right wall thickness. This is about 74 thousandths. So don't get PVC plastic pipe that's going to be really thick like they use for water. Also, the inside diameter is about 1.5 inches across. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to remove some of the pipe, some of the plastic pipe, just like this. You want to remove 1.25 inches. That's from here to here. Now, yes, I just said it's 1.5 inches across, but it's about 5.5 inches in circumference, and you're going to want to remove 1.25 inches from that piece of PVC. You're going to do that with some simple tools like this little T-square right here, or I'm sorry, not a T-square, it's some kind of an angle square, I don't know. Also, a digital caliper like this might be handy as far as measuring the wall thickness. Also, for that 1.25 inches, you might want to use that. You're going to mark it with a Sharpie. You're going to put this right across the top. Hopefully, you've cut it square. you'll be able to mark it down just like that. And that's something else I meant to talk to you about just a moment ago too, is the first thing you really want to do is when you buy that piece of PVC, depending on how long it is, you want to cut it just long enough for your lower fork. Well, with a piece of ordinary PVC, take a measurement, measure your lower fork leg, and with a little patience, it'll snap on just like that. A little added tip if you want to put a little piece of white tape around there, or if you want to put some detail in your lower fork like that, you could always sand it down or use some type of sanding tool with your Dremel or your die grinder. I hope you enjoyed this segment, and don't forget to visit Vintco online. Vintco, keep the ride going.
Hi, you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
We gotta pray, Rick. We gotta
after this
pray.
prayer.
Vintco, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with Vintco rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The Vintco air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit Vintco.com to check out the air shocks and all that Vintco has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
Coming up from Vintco. If you have a CR125 1974 or 1975, they got cranks ready to go at Vintco. They also got some top-end kits for your DTs, MXs, and TYs as well. As always, orders over $200, you will have free shipping only at Vintco. You know what else we got coming up here, Susie? We got some stickers we're going to give away just like this. And you can buy them too for $6. 2 for $6. They're about 5 inches long. But this is the section or segment of the show where we invite you, the viewers at home, to guess how much you think this bike recently sold for. This is the What's It Worth segment brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Guess how much this bike recently sold for? It was sold on Bring a Trailer, and we'll get you a couple of nice stickers. Compliments. Actually, you know who the compliments of? Compliments of Susie. And Susie Creations. Susie Creations is our one of our new sponsors. We'll talk about that in a little bit. So here we go. 1977 Yamaha YZ400. This was refurbished under the previous owner, with reported work having been included to be a repainted frame, fuel tank, and a suspension service, as also with rebuilding of the wheels. The motorcycle features a 5-speed transmission and a Mikuni carburetor. The bike also features IMS Pro pegs, a leading axle front fork, a monoshock, replacement rims, as well as new spokes. This YZ400D is offered at no reserve, and it is in California. It only has an off-road title. The 2.1-gallon fuel tank has been repainted. Doesn't look repainted to me, but okay. Anyway, it's got the speed block graphics as part of the refurbishment, which is said to have included a powder-coated frame in black. Features also include a vinyl seat cover, new front and side number plates. There is some corrosion noted on the swing arm. It does have the original side stand. Replacement rims measuring 18 and 21 inches have been replaced. They do have new spokes as well, and it has brand new Dunlop MX33 tires as part of the refurbishment. According to the seller, the leading axle fork and rear monoshock were serviced and tuned by Nolene J6 suspension technology of Victorville, California. Additional refurbishment work, including replacement of the spokes and nipples, the brake shoes, as well as the wheel bearings. The air-cooled 400cc two-stroke features a Kickstarter reed valve induction, a high-mounted exhaust pipe, which is in exceptionally poor condition, according to your host. And the engine had been media blasted. It's been overboard. It's installed. It has new replacement rings, bearings, and gasket. Now, there you have it. And here's one shot that I do happen to like, and I hope this becomes a little more standard issue, maybe, when some people are selling bikes. They give you a real detailed picture of the bottom of the engine. I think the bike is supposed to have a skid plate, but it does not have a skid plate on it. But you could see where there is no damage to the bottom of the engine. The frame rails look excellent as well. So it was sold on Bring a Trailer. Pipe's a little rough. Everything else looks good. How much do you think this bike recently sold for? $2,500, $3,500, $5,000. This bike was sold on Bring a Trailer for just $2,200 plus a 5% buyer premium. Wow. It was sold on August 25th. That's a nice bike for just $2,200. A nice running bike. I mean, look, new tires, new spokes and wheels, everything refurbished. It's close to $1,000 right there alone. So whoever got closest to $2,200, 5%, another 100, 200. I tell you what, anybody that got north or south of 2,400, anybody, type it in. You get yourself some stickers, compliments of Vintage Motocross Q&A. Nobody got it so far?
Nobody.
That is really difficult for me to believe that nobody got.
Everybody was way over.
Way over?
Way over.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
you're way over. What am I going to tell you? We have some good prizes though to give away in just a little bit. So stick around. Something else will come up, and you will probably win something from there. Okay. We'll be right back after this message from our sponsor, Full Circle Racing, and this is one of my favorites too. It's one of the ones that Jerry Maddox put together for us. Let's get a look at it.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
Great job there by Jerry Maddox and Tom McAllister. Be sure to see them at Full Circle Racing. They've got wheels for absolutely everything there. Your on-road, off-road, street bikes, dual-purpose bikes, you name it, get a hold of Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing. The next segment of our show to happen this very minute is the Here's the Problem segment. This is, of course, brought to you by Motion Pro. Such a great little, well, not a little company anymore. It's a really big company, but with a real small field when it comes to service. Somebody's always picking up the phone. They're always there to help you out at Motion Pro. Tonight's question comes in from Tyler McGregor, big supporter of the show. Tyler up there in Canada, and I got something special for him too. Joe Abbate, I want to know about the rivets or twist rivets. They are used to hold the ID tags on the steering neck. This happens on your Hondas. It happens on some of your Makos as well. I want to know if you can buy these, where they can be had, because the tiny rivets that are there are very, very difficult to either get out, and you certainly can't reuse them once you do get them out. So what is it that we can do for those rivets? And also, is there any chance of getting those not only the ID tag. You want to know about the ID tags too. I do have something that's really going to be helpful for you tonight, Tyler McGregor. We actually had this video.
Next time
Check this
trying
out.
this segment, we're going to take a look at something called twist rivets. Twist rivets. Now, these are really great when you want to do a very professional job when you're powder coating or painting your frame. What you want to do first, of course, is get off that ID tag that's on the front of your frame. This is, of course, very popular on a lot of Hondas, and I know on Makos as well. You got that identification tag up front that looks just like this. Now, you want to be able to get that off, and you want to be able to salvage it to put it back on the bike after you've either powder coated it or painted it. The first thing you want to do is get the tag off your bike. In order to do that, you're going to need a little spring-loaded center punch like this and a very, very fine drill. okay? One just about the size of the head that's on the rivet in there right now. You're going to want to drill it out, mark it with the center punch first, and then you're going to want to drill it out and preserve that ID tag. When you get them out, they're going to look like this. A piece is going to fall off down inside of your steering stem section of your bike. You're going to want to get that out of there. You're going to take those broken pieces and you're going to throw them away, okay? You're going to probably have to drill the hole a little bit bigger because the twist rivets that you're going to buy are going to be about 2 millimeters in width, okay? So you might have to drill them out a little bit. You can shop around. You can find twist rivets just about any place. You usually buy them in a bag very inexpensively. You can't really buy them 1, 2, or 4 at a time. But you can buy the ID plate. I've seen that on a very popular auction site. And you can get the twist rivets in many, many different places. Now, another tip is once you get your plate off the bike, or if you've purchased a new plate, you're going to want to bend it around something so it fits around the frame. You may not want to bend it around your frame. You might want to bend it around something that is off the bike, maybe a lower fork leg or the chrome stanchion tube of your bike. You want to bend it around there to get it into a nice shape before you put it back on the frame. Another tip is that you could use something like this called Stick and Seal by Loctite. Before you gently tap in those twist rivets, you're going to want to apply a little of this Stick and Seal to the back of that plate. Make sure it's lined up right there in the center of your head tube of your frame. Then you can proceed putting your twist rivets in there. Next slide, Jordan. Oh, there it is. And it should look just like that when you're done. Twist rivets. Look it up on Google. You can buy them in a variety of places. They also come in not only zinc plated, but they come in stainless steel as well. I would recommend you get the stainless steel ones. And after your frame is all powder coated and or painted, you can reapply your identification number plate just like that. It'll look just as good as new. Next time, try that.
Yeah, when I said Jordan there for a second, that really threw me because Jordan was helping me at that time that we made that video. So when I heard it say Jordan, I'm like, wow, I haven't done that in a long time. Hey, don't forget, plenty of Vintage Motocross Q&A swag here at the Vintage Motocross Q&A headquarters. We got koozies, mugs, hats, and of course we have stickers as well. And don't forget, shirts. We've got shirts in every shape, color, and size, starting at just $19.99. We've got them in long sleeve and short. We've got them tanks. We've got them in hoodies, and so much more. Just get a hold of me, and we'll get you something like that. Now, you heard me mention a little bit earlier something about the International Motocross Museum and a really great event that's coming up. It is a free event, and that is happening on October 19th. Just outside of Chicago, Illinois. We've got a little video put together for that, and let's take a look at it. It's from Terry Good.
Hi, my name is Terry Good, and I'm with the International Motocross Museum. I'm standing here with Roger DeCoster's 1973 500 World Championship Suzuki. The bike is in all original condition, just as it left the racetrack 51 years ago. This bike and over 50 more will be on display on October 19th at the IMM's last event before we open the doors to the museum. We'd love to have you go. If you want to come visit us and see all the bikes one last time, go to our website, internationalmotocrossmuseum.org, go to the top right hand of the page, click on the donate button, make a donation, and we'll send you an email with all the details on the date, the time, and a map to where it is. Real simple. We're going to do some cool things there that day, including I'm going to display this bike with the sand tank on it. I've never done that before at our last 2 events. So we'll display the bike with that infamous sand tank. Here it is right here, in exact condition as it was that day 51 years ago. It'll be mounted on the bike. The other thing we're going to do, we're going to mix some premix with some Castrol R with race gas, and we're going to fire this thing up. So you got to be there for that. It'll be a really cool event. It'll be low key, but it'll be fun. We hope to see you all there. Thank you.
There you have it. You will see that bike start up at the IMM event. We just got word that this gentleman right here, Sasaki Osuka, will be there. He will be traveling all the way from Japan to be at this event. Now you may say, Joe, who is Sasaki Osuka? I'm going to tell you who he is. He is the gentleman who over 50 years ago created the Honda Elsinore. You heard that right. This gentleman right here is the father of the Honda Elsinore. His English is exceptional, believe it or not. We were able to talk to him at the first IMM event. He will be there, and I understand some other famous riders will be there as well. Possibly starting up that Suzuki might be the guy who rode it for the last time. I cannot deny nor confirm that, but I have heard rumor that it might happen. The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 company. Be sure to get a hold of them, donate some money, and you too can be at the event, see all these bikes that you're seeing here. Actually, you're going to see way more bikes than this. There's only 25 in this lineup. You're going to see over 50 open to the public for the last time before we actually get to opening the doors at the International Motocross Museum. The Moto Showcase this week is brought to you by Preston Petty Products. Be sure to get over to PrestonPettyProducts.com. You can buy some fenders like this or, well, just about anything that Preston Petty made throughout all those years of production. And we got to thank Paul Stannard and Patty Stannard for actually bringing back and keeping the legend alive at Preston Petty Products. This week, what do we got? Oh, we've got a CZ. Well, you're not going to see a bike like this just anywhere. Here's a picture of it at the Quail Gathering down in beautiful Monterey, California. I think I took this picture last year or the year before when I was there. Anyway, the bike belongs to Mike Conley from Concord, California. And Mike writes to me, every part of this bike is period correct to 12/31/74, regardless of what ARMA may want you to believe. I built this bike according to the rule book over 40 years ago. That was enough. This is my rule book retirement trail bike. My rulebook free retirement trail bike. I'm sorry. We'll start what's going on here. Up front, we've got rims from Buchanan. We've got tubes from Metzler. We got tires from Metzler as well. We've got drum brakes and backing plates, CZ or NOS. We've got a fork brace, NOS Cal Cycle. The fork legs and internals are CZ. The fork tubes are Honda 150F. The triple clamps, which I want to get a picture of this. I want you to see this. Here's a good picture of it, I think, right here. Yeah, check out these triple clamps, guys. This is 3 sets of stock CZ triple clamps, cut, welded, and machined into one 8-pinch bolt set. It's got Andre bars, got grips, got those unobtainium donkey grips on it. Hand controls are by McGregor. It's got the tank and knee pads from Bertus, and Joe Abbate helped me put those on. I remember that, Mike. It took a couple hours. The seat is an NOS CZ item. The fenders are from Charlie Richardson. Engine and assorted parts is a 9-port, 5-speed reed box. CD ignition, CZ 250 gears, so far bulletproof from Charlie Richardson. 50-year-old CZ frame. It's been Magnaflux. Interference joints have been welded. New larger diameter B and C frame tubes. Extra cross bracing above the airbox. New gussets re-Magnafluxed again. Axles and swing arm pivot. New custom larger diameter. All 3. C&J swing arm, 4 inches longer than stock. Wheelbase 61 inches. None of us are 20 years old anymore with cat-like reflexes. The bike has 9 inches of travel. The shop manuals are included with it. All the parts books, which are unavailable. It's got a California green sticker, and there are hundreds of other items that went into the details on this bike. And I can tell you with the utmost certainty, because I've seen it in person down at Hollister, this bike is absolutely incredible. Mike does ride it, and he had it on display detailed to the hilt at Monterey. And yeah, at the Quail Gathering. Everybody was surrounding this bike, and I want to thank Mike Conley for sending this bike in. I wrote Mike a little note. I do have something special going to him from one of our sponsors. Thank you, Mike Conley, an absolutely incredible bike. You want to get one more look at that? I love this tank, too. It's got the old Mike's family they were a Texaco gas station down in Hollis, way down. Well, it started in 1959. And they were there right through the 60s. I know Mike worked there when he was a kid, according to things he has told me. There you see it with a little mud on it. There's that gas tank once again. Just an incredible bike. Mike Conley, thank you so much for sending the bike in. And you know what time it is? Oh, yeah, it's my favorite time of the evening, Susie, baby. Trivia returns. And tonight we are going to be giving away a hat like this. Beautiful vintage motocross Q&A hat. These are available for $18. If you get a hold of me, I'll sell you one. If not, well, put on your thinking cap, forget that VMXQ&A hat, and you tell me what the answer to this trivia question is. Okay? Here it is, right here. Who was the first American to win a moto in Carlsbad at the 500 USGP? Now, everybody remembers, of course, Marty Moats winning the overall, okay? But there was somebody before him that actually won a moto before Marty Moats. The first person to type that answer in is the winner. The first person to type that in will be the winner of this hat. Right now, we're going to move right on to the Did You Know segment. We've got a really great segment coming up tonight from Jeff Kokoski. It does involve AMSOIL. So let's get on with that while you guys are answering. Did you know, in continuation of our recent discussion regarding synthetic two-stroke oil and a nod to one of our show sponsors, Russell Waters and AMSOIL, did you know the history of AMSOIL? Our story begins after World War II when Albert Amatuzio joined the newly formed U.S. Air Force in 1947. Young Albert, born in Minnesota in 1924, the son of an Italian immigrant, dreamt of being a pilot, and he got to fly America's first operational jet fighter, the Lockheed P-80 Shooting Star. After fulfilling and establishing his obligation, Amatuzio returned home to Minnesota to run the family business. But he also continued his military career by serving in the Minnesota Air National Guard, eventually achieving the rank of lieutenant colonel. During his time as a fighter pilot, he won the William Tell air-to-air shootout competition and the Earl T. Rick competitive shootout. He really was a hotshot pilot. Amatuzio also understood the mechanics of the jet that he flew, and he knew that the engine internals were protected from heat and wear with synthetic oils developed during World War II. As we said in our previous segment about clutch lubricants, synthetic oils are petroleum-based oils that are broken down and cracked to remove any harmful contaminants and then rebuilt to make them less susceptible to heat and stress from the engines. Conventional motor oils at the time were they were susceptible to breakdown in high heat. So Amatuzio wondered why nobody had tried to use them in internal combustion engines in everyday American cars. He began studying chemistry related to oil characteristics and experimented with different formulations. By 1966, he had developed the first synthetic motor oil. To test it out, he convinced one of his fellow pilots to try it out in a brand new Ford station wagon, and the friend gladly agreed. Through the remainder of the 1960s, Amatuzio had experimented to perfect his formulation, and by 1968, he had developed a variety of commercial oils and called them Life Lube. The name was an amalgamation of the name oil. Shortly thereafter, Amatuzio changed the name to AMSOIL with an S after Pennzoil threatened to sue him. But getting to the general public to buy his product was easier said than done. Outside the military and the racing world, everyday Americans just couldn't justify spending several times more for synthetic oil over what they were spending on conventional motor oil. In addition, AMSOIL was neither American Petroleum Institute or Society of Automotive Engineers certified, so car manufacturers were reluctant to use the product. In 1972, Amatuzio sent a 10W40 oil to an accredited third-party lab where it was subjected to a battery of tests. As a result, AMSOIL synthetic motor oil became the world's first synthetic motor oil to meet API standards. It easily outperformed conventional motor oils on all accounts. The company credited the tagline, "The first in synthetic," to acknowledge its achievements. Mobil and other big oil companies took note of Amatuzio's achievements and began to develop their own synthetic brands. The driving public began to warm up to the idea of these expensive oils with claims of long life and extended mileage before the oil needed changing. Then the Arab oil embargo hit the U.S. in 1973 and in 1974, resulting in high gas prices for America's inefficient gas-guzzling automobiles and trucks as well. Japan and, to some extent, Detroit answered the nation's call to produce smaller, more efficient automobiles. However, these new cars, they burned even more fuel and completely just produced less power and created more heat. This putting more demands on the lubrications themselves. Being a leader in the industry, AMSOIL began to a popular alternative to the synthetics produced by the major oil companies. The AMSOIL company took off. By 1994, Al Amatuzio was inducted into the Lubricant World Hall of Fame. Yes, there is such a thing. And his contributions to the synthetic oil industry were recognized around the world. Amatuzio and AMSOIL pioneered the application for automotive synthetic motor oil, as well as introducing the first synthetic automotive gear oil, the first synthetic diesel oil, and the first 100-to-1 two-stroke synthetic oil. Al Amatuzio remained the CEO of AMSOIL until his death in 2017, when his son Alan had taken over for him at the company. Today, AMSOIL Incorporated products are sold in over 60 countries throughout a dealer network that lubricate approximately half of the wind turbines in North America and remains a worldwide leader in synthetic technology in the automotive, power sports, and racing, as well as the industrial markets. And now we know more about AMSOIL, thanks to Jeff Kokoski. By the way, if you're in the greater Syracuse area and you want to buy AMSOIL, see our buddy here, Gordon McCaffer. That's him on the left. Gordon McCaffer is on Facebook. He's in the greater Syracuse area. AMSOIL also supports Jerry Maddox as well as this show. Thank you, Russell Waters and AMSOIL, for all you do for us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We really appreciate it. Thank you, AMSOIL. Another great job by Jeff Kokoski on the AMSOIL segment. And I am sure that Russell Waters enjoyed that thoroughly. We've got some, we're going to tell you who the winner is of the hat when we get back from our next commercial. That guy is also going to get some AMSOIL koozies as well. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross.
I am Heikki Mikkola. We will be right back.
That was perfect, Heikki.
Hi, I'm Paul Parkinson with Replica Motorcycle Parts. I'm sitting here with our test bike, which is ridden by Jerry Maddox. It carries the #1 plate in the US. Let's go over a couple of the parts that we've got on here. We've got our ignition cover with the case saver built into it, so that when the chain comes off, you're not damaging your cases. Spacer, foot pegs. Jerry runs our air box. Seat brackets, keeps the seat on tight so he doesn't fall off when he's going over the whoops. And then this side, Jerry runs a couple little things, a lot of little rubber parts on the bike, and that stuff are all done by us. And then down here we've got our brake pedal, which has got needle bearings in there, and then it's got a wider toe peg, so it gives them a real nice, clean, easy to use brake. And then this is our latest part. This is a CR250 type knuckle. In fact, Honda used them on the last versions of the MR175s, and this is a real trick aluminum Kickstarter arm. So that gives them lightweight, strength, and reliability more than anything else. Reliability.
All right. And there you have it. We are just about ready to announce the trivia winner. First of all, let's take a look at the question again. Who was the first American to win a moto at the 500cc USGP? I had a feeling that when I wrote this question down, when I put first American, somebody was going to get it in like 1 second, and they did. Anyway, the answer to the question was Jim Pomeroy. It was 1977. Jimmy won the first moto of the USGP that day. Eventually, in the second moto, he did have bike problems, but Jimmy, so close to taking the overall. I'm sure he would have taken the overall that day had that Honda, in a very, very rare occasion, did not break down. But Susie, you are the one who knows who the winner actually is. I don't even know yet. Who is it?
It's Roy Vanderveer.
Okay.
He was the first one to put it. A couple people did put it.
Right.
Jimmy Pomeroy's name, but he was the first one. Roy Vanderveer, you get.
What does he get?
He gets his hat.
Yeah.
And a couple koozies compliments of Angela.
Couple of koozies. All right, then. Pretty good. Roy Vanderveer, thanks so much. And thanks so much for helping us out on the show. I've got a video, actually, a follow-up to Roy's video from last week. Last week, Roy sent us a video on rebuilding brake calipers. And this week, he sent in a video to us for rebuilding the master cylinder as well. All right? Oh, I can't wait to see this guy. And I'm going to see him come October. That is none other than Paul Parkinson Sr. of ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com. You just saw the commercial that was put together by Paul, and he mentioned in that commercial they have knuckles like this. These are for your CR125 and CR250s. Here's another picture right here. Here's the 125. So get a hold of ReplicaMotorcycleParts.com, Paul Parkinson Sr., and we're going to be seeing him in the not-too-distant future at an event that's coming up here in Southern California in October. Tell you about that in just a couple of minutes. This Week in Motocross History is brought to you by Racer X Magazine, one of the finest publications available on your newsstand and, of course, online. Racer X Magazine. It's 1973. Talladega International hosts a round of the AMA 250 500 Pro Motocross Championship, and Honda rider Gary Jones gives its brand the first win at the iconic speedway, followed by Suzuki's Rich Thorwaldson and Yamaha's Tim Hart. In the 500cc class, Yamaha's Pierre Carsmakers claimed the win, followed by Wyman Priddy and Mickey Boone. It was 1990. We're skipping around a little bit here. All right, I'm going to go right to 90. At Broome, Tioga in New York, Team Honda riders swept the 125 500 National as Mike Kiedrowski topped the 125 class and Jeff Stanton won on the 500s. He was followed by Suzuki's Larry Ward and Ron Tishner, as well as Yamaha's Damon Bradshaw, who dropped down to the 125 class from the 250s when that series had ended. And it was 1980. The AMA Pro Motocross Championship ended at Sunshine Speedway in St. Petersburg, Florida. The 125 class was won by Suzuki's Mark Barnett, and the victory was enough for the first AMA 125 National Championship for both Barnett and Suzuki. The Bomber bettered Yamaha's Brock Glover, the previous champion, in each of the previous 3 years. Glover had engine trouble that week before in New York and at St. Pete. His shock went away in the second moto. He could only muster a sixth place finish. Well, there you have it. First win for Suzuki's Mark Barnett and for Suzuki in the 125 class in a national, and the first win for Gary Jones. Well, not the first win for Gary Jones, but the first win for Honda from Gary Jones. If you want to become a sponsor or a supporter of Vintage Motocross Q&A, please get a hold of me. You could do this for just $49.95. You'll get your name up on the board just like this. You'll also get a t-shirt in the color of your choice. Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsorship opportunities are also still available if you want to become a supporter or just a sponsor of the show as well. Now, as I promised you, I wanted to follow up on with Roy Vanderveer's video on the master cylinder rebuilding. Kind of goes along with what we had last week for the brake caliper building. So let's take a look at that. Then we will be back to wrap it up at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Yes, I'm going to get Gino out here too this week.
Roy Vanderveer, and welcome to tonight's edition of Next Time Try This. For the record, and before we begin, I know the brakes on our vintage motocross bikes are supposed to look like this, but sometimes they look like this too. So tonight we're talking about hydraulic brakes. In the near future, I intend to talk a little bit about drum brakes and what we can do to make them perform at their best. But for today, we've already serviced the rear caliper, and I followed the brake hose to the other end, and there's the master cylinder. And I want to go over the two hard parts that make servicing a master cylinder kind of sketchy or kind of scary. And the first one is all the kits that you get for new parts. They do not come with this seal on this piston. The seals are very resilient to damage. They're tough. It's completely made out of rubber. There's no spring, there's no metal or anything like that in there. So these are quite stretchable. People who have never done this job before get really nervous about the amount of pressure it takes to put this seal onto this piston. And here's how I do it. And the first thing you want to do is make sure you have the orientation right, because it's a tapered seal and the large outside diameter is the one that needs to be facing the brake fluid and doing the work. So this plunger goes in this way. We want this edge of the seal to be facing in. So get the orientation right, put the seal on there sideways. I'm going to come in. It takes a bit of strength with your fingers and just pull it over the head of the piston. And then you see you got the taper facing the right way and it's ready to go. Not so hard, but that is one of the two hard parts. So the other hard part is getting this clip out. This master cylinder has the clip very near the top, but on most of the bikes that we're working with, that clip's going to be about 30 millimeters down the bore. If you try to do that with a pair of circlip pliers, let's say, that look like this, it's not going to work. Look like this, no, not going to happen. These, nice pliers, but no way. You have to get a set of Motion Pro master cylinder snap ring pliers. This is the only way to go. If you have to own only one set of snap ring pliers in your whole life, this is the one to own, because it'll do transmission shafts, it'll do counter shafts, it'll do all the other stuff but the one thing that these will not do is get all the way down the bore and have the orientation of the jaws facing the right way so you can get that snap ring out. So that out of the way, let's put this together real quick. First thing we want to do before we put the piston in the bore is we put just a little brake fluid on there to lubricate it. And since we're working with hydraulic parts, of course we want everything to be squeaky clean. So with that, first things first. The return spring goes in. The spring cap goes in. Then the piston goes in. Then we have our outer segment here. And what I always like to do here, just a little extra, is just put a dab of grease right in there, because that is a joint and it does move around a little bit. And then we can push it all together. We'll get that boot up out of the way. Make sure we can see reasonably well here. And then we're going to get our circlip pliers on there and get that down in there. Perfect. Back together. Now, speaking of the Motion Pro snap ring pliers, Joe has negotiated a coupon code for us. The pliers retail for $32. If you apply the coupon code, you get them for just $25.60. Another nice thing, the folks at Motion Pro offer free freight at just $29.99. That's unheard of. That makes it real easy to get stuff shipped in. The conflict is, once you apply that coupon code, you drop below the free freight level. So while you're at it, take a look in your toolbox and make sure you've got a flywheel puller, a spoke wrench, a plug wrench, tire levers, a chain tool. And while you're at it, why not treat yourself to a T-handle set? They've got one of the best sets going at a great price. So if you're going to do this job, you got to have these pliers. And it's really that simple. There you go. Hope you can make it better next time. And we'll see you again soon.
Thank you, Roy Vanderveer. I have to confess, I didn't get to see that whole video before just this moment. I saw a part of it. I made sure the audio worked and stuff like that, but I did not get a chance to see that video. And Roy, you did an excellent job. And you did mention 20% off from Motion Pro. Right now, you know what we have, Jesus?
Yeah.
We have our viewer appreciation. Yeah, who we got? What do we got and what are they getting?
They're getting a poster courtesy of the IMM. And the winner tonight is Brian Bellman. Brian Bellman, you are the winner. Joe explained to you how to receive your poster.
Brian Bellman, here's what you got to do. Go over to the International Motocross Museum website, pick out a poster, like the ones you see right here. Roger's bike, you got Hannah, you got a Marty Smith bike, you got a bunch of them over there. Go over to the International Motocross Museum, pick out a poster, and then send me your address. I will tell Terry Good to send you the poster. It's that simple. Brian Bellman, congratulations. You are tonight's winner of the Viewer Appreciation Prize, which is those great posters from Terry Good. Now, I got a couple of more announcements to go here tonight, and there's some really good ones too, because some great events coming up, and I didn't want to miss that. Hey, next week, it's happening. Another team we're working hand in hand with, Ben's Vintage Mini Bike Lovers. They got a podcast coming up on Facebook that happens on September 8th. We got some other events coming up. Here's a great one on September 15th. It happens to be a Sunday. Got the Vintage Motocross happening down there and a trial school. That's an ARMA event at Rattler's Run, and that's in Texas. I believe that is in Texas. That's coming up September 15th. Barbecue and fundraiser, Crowder's Creek Church. Al Roof sent this into us. That happens on Saturday, September 28th in Gastonia, North Carolina. Scott and Debbie Burnworth have their third race coming up. That happens at Glen Helen on October 5th. That is round 3. We've also got the two-stroke extravaganza happening on Sunday, October 6th. That happens down there in beautiful Southern California. Camarillo, actually, real nice place and a real great event. The Hayseed National. Who doesn't want to be in Yantis, Texas on September 20th through the 22nd? Got a big event coming up down there. Looks like the gates are open as early as Tuesday and Wednesday. One of my favorite events of the year, because I have been the MC for the last 3 years, the Langston Motorsports Bike Show. That happens October 26th in Parrish, California. Always a great time. Food trucks, lots of prizes, incredible motorcycles, and usually get some really wonderful people down there. Lots of sales going on in the store and outside. Langston Motorsports. We'll be talking more about that as time goes on. And is it too early to talk about the York Swap Meet? Well, it might be 100 degrees here today in Northern California, but before you know it, it'll be January 12th, and we will be in the frozen tundra of York, Pennsylvania for the 2025 York Swap Meet. I will be there. Jeff Kokoski will be there, and we'll have a great time as we always do. That wraps it up for this episode of Vintage Motocross Q&A. Congratulations to all of our winners. Mike Conley, thank you for sending in your bike. Gina, come on, boy. There he is. That's it from Northern California. Good night from Gino, Rocco, and Susie. We'll see you all next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Have a good evening. We'll see you then.
I'm Dave Arnold. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate. We'll be right back.